Hey, Stratman here from Pipware.com. Continue on with building the strategy. This video is going to be about marking up support and resistance. Now on each video I'm just going to do a quick plug at the start for just some assistance from you. As I've been saying, I make 2% a day from my trading. My trading capital isn't large enough for me to live off that 2% a day. Wish it was. If you find what I'm doing helpful, please consider one of two things: either purchasing the dashboard from my website or maybe giving me a donation. That would be fantastic. So that's pipware.com. Won't labour on that too much. Let's get back to the study. Now, if I look at any chart and I think about the moving averages we just had, I'll just do a quick aside here and just see what you think of this. Without even drawing a moving average on here, I can see that a larger, longer term moving average is going to look something like this. It's going to follow this kind of arc here. Right? Now that says to me I'm below that moving average, so all my trades are trades on pullbacks of that. So we're out on the H1, so we'll be trading, if we're an H1 trader, we can trade all these pullbacks. And they should be reasonably clear to you. Some of these have offered up some very good profit on each move. Now we're getting to a point where price is starting to turn back the other way. Now, depending on what time frame you're on, you would consider this to be starting to look at long trades maybe, depending on what moving average you're working on. So right now we would be considering, well, we really need a pullback on this and then a break this way if we're above our moving average. Now if I move out to H4, we're still, if we're an H4 trader, we're still thinking about our short trading. If we go down to M15, well, clearly we're thinking about long trading. And on M5, what are we thinking about? Well, I would say, looking at a moving average coming up here, price is probably just about becoming flat, although potentially these were the trading opportunities. They would have all been long trading opportunities. So determining what you're going to trade, whether you're looking at naked charts or using your moving averages, it's all dependent on what time frame you're wanting to trade. So it's very likely that if you're on H1, you could be doing short trades while someone that's on M15 and M5 is doing long trades. So you need to get that clearly established. No direction is the wrong direction. People all the time, there is as much volume of selling as there is buying at any one moment, and depending on what the buyers and sellers are willing to sell or buy at moves the price. So clearly there's a lot of people speculating, but even if you are doing either way, you can still make money. That's how the whole market works. So hopefully that's quite a good insight for some of you. Now what I'm going to do is just have a quick look at marking up support and resistance. Now, just while I'm thinking about it, looking at this candle formation here, I know that this here is basically a pin bar, because I'm used to viewing this. So if I go up to the next time frame, it's getting more and more like a pin bar. And if I get to my daily chart, then this is a pin bar. So being able to recognize patterns on lower time frames like this, you know, some people might be thinking of this as a cup with like a handle and the cup part here, you know, but viewing these patterns, visualizing them, what they actually are on the higher time frames, can really assist you quite a bit. Right, support and resistance. Daily chart, let's look at it. And so this is just the normal markup kind of thing. I'm really just plonking lines on and looking for places where price looks like it pivots. So and there's one there. Price has come down. It was bouncing off it at one stage, and then it started coming up and bouncing off from the other direction. That's a support and resistance line. It's as simple as that. Where's another one? Well, price has been bouncing here, but if I draw there, we can see that price came down. I'm not worried about the wicks too much. I'm trying to capture what I consider as the best kind of pivoting point of price. So price was bouncing off this, then it went under and kept bouncing on the underside, and then later on has come back, and so support, in other words, became resistance, and resistance became support again. So these are two classic support and resistance lines. So it's as simple as that. You can get carried away and draw too many of them if you're not careful. But for me, looking at the chart right there, that's where they are right now. And I can do another one about here somewhere, because this is what's been happening. We've got price being support here. I'm not worried that it's projected through. It's just a general area. If price gets back to these areas, I'm going to look at it very closely, because if I'm in a trade going short into this point here, I have to be really cautious and think about pulling the trade and taking my profits. That's what the support and resistance is all about. It's not about trying to place orders to try and catch a bounce or catch a breakout. They're just points where you're going to view more closely what's going on the chart. The next thing I would do is just try and do a couple of parallel lines to form a channel. So I've drawn this together, and then I'm going to double click on it, hold my control key down and drag it along and see if it parallels up with anything else. And indeed it does in this case. So to me, that now is a valid channel on the daily chart. It's just that simple. That simple. Then I'll go down to the H4 time frame. I might even zoom out a little bit more and have a bit of a closer look. I might have to adjust some things just ever so slightly, but I know that these two are parallel lines, and look, it's looking pretty good. I mean, you just got to try and capture the best you can what's going on. You might even want to double click on it again, use your control key, and see if you can find some other points where price kind of looks like it bounces a lot. So, you know, you just drag the thing up and down and see. I mean, like, just there's looking good to me. There's a lot of kind of bouncing on there. So price is bounced up into there. Grab another one. Do the same thing. Have we got any other points where it looks like price has been doing a lot of stuff? I mean, you could get a bit carried away, but I would say, you know, possibly there, possibly there. It's up to you. I'd probably draw it there. I mean, look at that. We've got it hasn't come down and bounced directly off it, but look, price has been kind of doing something along that line. So to me, it's a line of interest, and particularly that price has got to this point right now. I'm really interested in that. Now you've got to remember, this is a band of lines. Like, price has shot through in some places. Like I said, it's a point of interest. You're just looking at it as a point of interest. Once I've done that, this chart remains on my H1 time frame, and I've zoomed it out quite a bit here just so you can see what it looks like on my H1. And you know, clearly these are places of interest. I'm going to be watching those carefully as price gets there, but building that into what I already know with my current strategy. So while I'm actually trading, obviously I'm not zoomed way out like that. I'm actually looking at candles in this kind of mode. So now I'm seeing that I've got one of my trend line support and resistance and my horizontal line support and resistance. If I've entered a trade right at this point on the M15 and it's just about to hit this line, I'm going to be watching this really closely. I'm going to be thinking, well, what's the likelihood of this actually being able to penetrate that line and continue on for some serious profit? If I get to 20 pips profit at that line there, am I going to sit on that 20 pips and let the market retrace back on me and lose all that 20 pips? I think not. And you shouldn't. That's how you use your support and resistance. If you're in a trade and price gets to very close to one of your lines where you expect that price is going to hesitate, you want to be pulling out and taking the money off the table, putting it in your pocket and saying thank you very much, and be a happy chappy or a happy lass. Okay, so very quickly, that's just the other methods of support and resistance. So we've got to consider support and resistance in terms of monthly, weekly, daily highs and lows and pivot points generated off them, Asian session high and low, and also support and resistance that we may mark up in the way that I've just shown in the form of horizontal lines and also channel lines or sloping lines. parallel lines, that is. Okay, so I hope that's been helpful for you guys. So time to get out of that trade.